Welcome to the Guiding Brands podcast with your host and chief guide, Karen Vick. This is a podcast for service-based small businesses who want to get a handle on their marketing so they can attract and gain new customers. Welcome to another episode of the Guiding Brands podcast, where we help you, the small business owner, on this journey called marketing to make better your branding, your messaging, your look and feel to your audience so that you stand out from the crowd and make a difference in the lives of the people that you serve. And today's episode will fit this to a T because my guest Damion Parsons is the founder of SizeWise Closet Coach. And you might be wondering why closets or what closets have to do with marketing, but stick with me. You'll find out as we go along today. So Damion, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to be on the Guiding Brands podcast. And I'm going to ask you to you do the introductions. Usually I start off with the bio, but you are so diverse that I thought it would be best that you share with the audience who you are and what you've been up to in this world.
Hey, good morning, Karen. Thank you for having me today.
Sure.
So my name is Damion. I'm the founder of SizeWise Closet Coach. But before I get into that, I'd like to share some of my background as you highlighted. I am a creative director and a UX UI designer. And what I do is help brands connect with clients and clients connect to brands through designing seamless experiences that allows them to achieve their goals. I've been in the field for about 15 years. I've worked for the likes of PwC, Sapient Nitro. I have designed booking engines for Carnival Cruise Line in Atlantis, Bahamas. And the most notable thing that people always ask me about is the Guinness World Record that I had for designing the longest swing set in the world. So through the experience of doing all that, I saw an opportunity in fashion to create a platform, SizeWise Closet Coach, to help individuals embrace their closets in a more confident and stylish way.
Wow. That's a huge arc. UX. For those of us in the audience who may not know what UX UI is, UX is user experience. UI stands for user interface, and so when you look at an app, for instance, when you're navigating your phones, websites that you go to, Damien is excuse me, one of those people who actually designs your experience, who thinks about, you're traveling through these apps, interacting with them, making it a seamless and, you know, good experience for you, So the bad ones out there, we're not going to blame them on Damien. Clearly, he's good at what he does. So, yeah, so that's what he does, and then this arc into the size-wise coach. Damien, what brought you to this? What's the story behind this? How did you get here?
So I was born and raised in Jamaica, and my grandmother was a seamstress. My mom also sewed. We collaborate on a lot of projects, but growing up, I've always had the luxury of wearing handmade clothing for school, for church. The hand-me-downs were altered to fit. We had scrap bins that we could, rummage through to get new clothing done or made. And for a very long time, I didn't really think about clothing because it was just something that was offered. And coming here to the US after the passing of my grandmother, I realized that I had to go dumpster diving at the mall like everyone else for clothing. So I tried all the trends, the baggy pants and the jerseys and all the things. And it just didn't feel like me. Like
Mm,
I'd go out to events and my mind would be on a piece of clothing that would be dragging or hanging or just didn't fit right.
hmm.
And the one thing that I always remember my grandmother telling me was Fit is the center of style. So I went back to my roots. I started documenting my own size. Whenever I bought clothing, I made sure that they would fit. I knew what my inseam was before I could count. So it wasn't a far leap from trying to understand what would really work for me. And I started doing it with friends. I collected sizes of friends and family, and I would gift them clothing based on the sizes I would capture. And I
Hmm.
realized that I wasn't the only one faced with this issue. And through experimenting, I designed a patented size calculator, which everyone gets for free for signing up to our website. And it's just a way of keeping in mind that we change. You know, we
Hmm.
change frequently. A lot of us think that we're a medium from high school to retirement, and that's not true. We go through changes, and we change over a Thanksgiving meal.
I
And if
don't
we
like
can
that.
accept this, yes,
No,
if
I'm
we,
not accepting it.
I know it's a very hard pill to swallow, but the reality is once we embrace this truth, the way we show up, the way we shop, the way we embrace our personal brand exponentially changes how we go to the date night, go to the speaking engagement, showing up on the Zoom call. You said you were wearing pink today for an event that you had. It changes the way you show up to these events, right? How you accessorize, how you feel. And when you stop thinking about what you're wearing to the event, you're present at the event.
Hmm. That's true. I'm gonna at that last statement. I'm gonna agree with 100% because as someone who doesn't think a whole lot about wardrobes and things like that until the hour. I'm one of those people who gets stressed over what to wear and things like that at the last minute. But then my style is simple. I really I love color though. I could say that much. I love color, but my style is usually pretty simple, and I am not one of those people who goes into the stores and shops on racks of rummaging through like 50 million shirts. If I see a style, if I see it on display and I like that, I'm gonna get that. That's more me, you know. When it comes to shopping for me, anyway, I'll do the rummaging for other people. I'll buy for others before I buy for myself. But very interesting because guess what? We have a similar background. I'm Jamaican as well, and my mom was a seamstress. I didn't know her. She passed when I was a baby,
Sorry to
but
hear that.
yeah, hey, listen. As a result, I have four moms and my sisters, so I get to, or I should say five, because I have her memories and all the things and all the pieces that they come to me with. But anyway, but what they shared with me was this woman who did have a sense of style about her, and then just the way she went about her day. They told me like she would start the day going to her machine, or and we had a store as well. She had a store, and she would be dressed to the nine, going to the store, and they tell me stories about things that they've made. My sister, my eldest sister, still has the last dress she made for her.
Wow.
And I actually recently was just given her last pair of scissors. It's a Singer sewing scissor, but trust me, none of that fell to me. The clothing, the sewing, none of that. So I'm grateful to find this kindred soul in you in that aspect. So when you say that you started this because you were searching for clothing that would make you feel good and make you connect to your roots, things like that. Collecting your size. Tell me a little bit about that. What I mean, when you say you did that for friends and so on, how did that work? Did you just go up to them with a measuring tape and say, "I'm going to measure you"? How did that work?
Yeah, so the journey started with first understanding vanity sizing. I wasn't
Hmm.
aware of that term myself growing up
Mm-hmm.
because everything was measured to fit.
Right.
And vanity sizing is the idea of brands using small, mediums, and large
Mm-hmm.
to impress on their clients that they are smaller than they actually are.
Oh.
So it's a marketing tactic. You usually see the smaller sizes in more luxury brands. So if you're, let's say, typically a large,
Mm-hmm.
the vanity size would say you're a medium. If you're a
Interesting.
six, they would say you're a four. So it plays on the the ego to say
Hmm.
about where you are when it's not actually the fact of the matter. And the true size is always the number. So if
Hmm.
your neck is 15 and a half, 15 and a half is 15 and a half inches everywhere in the world. So by
Hmm.
understanding your numbers first and understanding how to read the labels, is a big part of understanding true fit, ignoring
Hmm.
vanity sizing. So you could find your true fit in an extra large if the numbers correlate. It's not
Hmm.
about the vanity size in itself, it's about the number.
I
And the way
see.
I went about it was measuring myself. I started capturing my own measurements just to keep a record of it so I would understand if a shirt would fit. What's the arm length? What's my neck? What's my bust? My inseam for jeans and pants. Like that's my guiding light to finding clothing that works for me.
I
And
see.
for friends and family, it was more of a covert mission because if you ask for anyone's sizes, they're automatically going to assume that you're
Yeah.
buying them a gift, right? Or why the hell do you need this number? No one else is asking for it. So if I had access to their closets, I'd go in, see what fits, and I'll just take a record of it.
Really? Really? Wow. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So okay, this journey started with that. How did you then um, take this idea to a brand, to creating, size wise? What's where? How did you get to that point?
Honestly, the name was always there.
Really?
Since day one, size wise was always a part of it because of the story I just shared. I understood that size was the centerpiece of the conversation. So before the brand started, I've always mentioned this idea of size wise.
Hmm.
And in Jamaica, there's this folklore about owls being smart, being
Hmm.
wise. And that's why it's in the logo. Size wise is giving our clients the wisdom of their own measurements. So
Hmm.
size wise is it turned into this educational platform where we're not only giving you information about your size and connecting you to products that fit, but we want to give you information about how to wear a white dress shirt for a triangle shaped body, how to fold your clothes, how to do all the things that we're afraid to talk about in that space.
Hmm.
And as it developed, the more I spoke to people, co-workers, friends, everyone seemed to love the idea. And initially I focused on the technology.
Hmm.
It was just size wise. And once the technology rolled out, it was supposed to help with returns. What I found out very quickly is that no one cared about returns because no one's paying for returns. That's, however, it's changing. A lot of the fast fashion brands have been charging for returns because last year online shoppers spent over $700 billion on returns, and over
Hmm.
15% of that was clothing and accessories. So it's a huge problem, and the brands are taking a hit. However,
Hmm.
clients don't see that as something that is interrupting their day, so I had to pivot. So
Okay.
SizeWise eventually became SizeWise Closet Coach, which is
Okay.
more focused on personalization and client needs.
Interesting. So the technology, it does solve a problem, yes. But what I'm hearing is that the human need for a guide, we're guides here, actually helps to support the application and vice versa, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's a
Okay.
cyclical system. The
Yeah.
tech is B2B and the closet coach is B2C. So size wise is focused more on relationship with brands,
Mm-hmm.
tailors, seamstresses, and closet coach is more focused on our clients' needs and helping them reshape their closets.
Okay. So you actually, is it that you license the use of the technology to B2B, to businesses in the
That's
industry?
absolutely it. That's it.
Really?
We have a Chrome extension that we allow small brands to be a part of so we can aggregate their products. And if Karen goes on one of these partner websites, she can filter out all the products that will only fit her.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So
Wow.
instead of looking through a vast amount of products that may or may not fit you, we help you through your size calculator sort and curate products that will fit your neck, your bust, your waist, your inseam. We capture 12 points on the body right now, so from your head all the way down to your foot. You can choose to put in one or as many as you'd like, and depending on what that retailer has,
Hmm.
that's how we'll aggregate the product to your changing sizes.
Okay. And so then how do is it a tool that I would have to have on say a device like my phone in order to interact with this? How does that work from the browser? If I were to go to a store, online.
It's very simple, actually. It's not as tech savvy as you think it might be. We're not asking you to get half naked to take a picture. It's just a manual calculator.
Hmm.
You select the body type that you'd like to update. So if it's your neck size,
Hmm.
we instruct you and we offer the support through our closet coaches to help you measure your neck correctly.
I see.
Once you have that measurement, you put it into your calculator, and that is now a resource for you to share with any brands that you like. You
I
can share
see.
that resource with a friend, or you can use it with one of our coaches to help you with personal shopping.
I see. Interesting. Okay. Wonderful. So, listen, we in our space in the marketing and branding space, we talk about niches. We talk about having a specific audience that we go after. Um, Everybody wears clothing. We're not in the dark ages. Everybody wears clothing. Um, who would you say is your ideal, client? Who do you go after when you're talking about the service to the individual?
So the individuals that get more excited about or most excited about what we have are professional businesswomen.
Professional
And this
business.
is how
Okay.
we met. I
Okay.
became
Yes.
the only male member of an American Business Women Association, an all
Yes.
women's group. And I'm also a part of Women Wisdom, Wealth, and Wine. So I'm a part of two all women's organization. And the idea was just to be a part of these groups and not only help them with their closets, but my background as a creative director, I could help a group of individuals that see an opportunity to support community. And that was always the mission for the brand. How can
Hmm.
we help people feel positive and confident about who they are and what they're about in their everyday lives? And professional businesswomen, they get the trifecta effect of how they show up. They're getting judged by corporations, they're getting judged by men, and unfortunately, they're getting the side eye from other females as well. So, how they show up is very important, and having a virtual coach help you shop your closet first and understand what flatters you every time you get dressed in the morning is what our goal is.
Hmm. Interesting. So when you started out, did you start out saying, you know what, everybody wears clothing, so I'm gonna try to sell this to everybody, or I'm going to try to help everybody with their closets. And then you eventually, through, trial and error, discovered that, your ideal clients are businesswomen. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was a trial and error, and we can help most.
Mm-hmm.
We've helped underserved kids get dressed for transitioning into the workforce. We did a program with the Flight Center here in Fort Lauderdale,
Mm-hmm.
and they hosted a boutique. And our contribution was to do a presentation, help kids understand their body type and shape. And yeah, we've also helped professional men gain in muscle, lose in muscle, trying to figure out how to fit in their corporate offices.
Hmm.
So yeah, it spans from individuals doing speaking engagements to just trying to figure out what works.
Hmm.
But our core audience are professional business women.
Well, uh, and it makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, because women also dress their partners as well. So
Right,
men end up getting benefiting from the service anyway.
right.
Cool, very cool. So, trust is a big factor in this space. Women don't always feel comfortable in themselves and their bodies and how they actually carry themselves every day. How do you bridge that gap? This trust, that gain trust with the people that you work with the women especially that you work with. You know.
I'm still working on that. And a big part of it is true. That space is not usually the topic of conversation for most.
Hmm.
And what I've realized is it is usually a dark theme for most people. You know, it's where we keep our dark secrets. It's where the boogeyman lives. It's the place we ignore until we really have to pay attention to it.
Hmm.
So bringing it up, I've been in conversations with folks that started crying
Wow.
because their therapist told them not to talk about size because there is, this sensitivity around
Hmm.
weight, especially in America. And understanding that we are dealing with these topics was new to me. I thought it was just blindly talking about clothing and helping you get dressed.
Hmm.
But we're talking about weight loss, weight gains. We're talking about pregnancies. We're talking about how it's tied emotionally to a piece that your grandmother gave you.
Hmm.
So there's all these emotions tied up in the closet. So, I mean, one of our anchors is we don't judge, we dress. So we just get to who you are, what is your current state or shape, what are your aspirations and goals, and through that we help you tell your closet story.
Interesting. Okay. So you end up being a part therapist at times too, or counselor at times. I can imagine because it's a sensitive thing for most women. For a lot of women. I shouldn't say most women, but for a lot of women in the corporate space. Especially because you're going out there. Um, Essentially you making impressions. The first impression that you make is usually the one that people sticks in people's brains and so on. So that's very helpful, very helpful. I can see how your service will be helpful for sure. So with the closet coach, how is it a are you committing, is each person committing to a period of time where they work with you, or can it just be like once where they get this coaching session and they're like, oh, I get it now, I know what I need to do, or is this something that they need to do over time?
Both. Yeah, it's a pay-as-you-go service.
Okay.
Imagine us being a Uber for stylists. You
Okay.
ride until you get to your style destination. So we've
Okay.
designed it to be accessible and affordable to anyone that wants to use our service. Because the idea is access to this information shouldn't just be for the rich and famous. And there's a lot of folks that assume that we're expensive. and assume that it's this long haul of showing you how to show up. If you just want to purchase or service for one event to say, hey, is it the pink or is it the maroon? We can help with that. And the
Mm-hmm.
idea is to give you access to these certified coaches so you can pick one coach if there's chemistry there. So you have the confidence now of knowing that you always have someone to access if you're going to an event or if you're
Mm-hmm.
going through a transition or a transformation and need that support.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. And, when we bring this back to branding, ourselves and marketing, both, because we're going to say they interchange at some point. What you're demonstrating, to the audience here is the need for identifying exactly who it is that you're going to be working with, and how much you can differentiate yourself from the others out there, because I'm sure you have competitors. I've seen I remember seeing something, I think, on Shark Tank. Someone created an app that would measure you, through the app, snap pictures, I guess, or something like that. I'm sure that they're a competitor to some degree with the technology that you have. And then there's, just people coaching, or friends and family telling you what to do, what not to do, and you scouring through social media and whatnot. So it's good to know that you have established exactly who it is that you serve, what is it that you do, the problem that you solve, and how you solve it, which is really important for any brand. So with that, brand awareness, how do you get the word out about this? Because if I didn't meet you, I wouldn't have known. If I didn't meet you in that, in-person setting, I'm not sure that I would have known about what you do. So how do you get the word out? Does social media play a big role, or you do a lot of offline events? Which one, or all of them? But what works for you getting the word out?
Yeah, so I'm new to the space of starting my own business, especially at this scale. I've always done things where I'd hustle for, cash, making t-shirts and doing things, but this is the first attempt at making something that really felt worthwhile. And I knew that the website had to be attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, started writing a lot of blogs and we started getting a lot of visibility there. Uh, I have some technical knowledge and know-how, and I've broken things and I've also fixed things. And through that experimentation and learning, the website is where the main focus is. We have about 60% of our signups coming from the website, from people reading our blog, seeing what we do with the size calculator. And yeah, I mean, we officially launched the brand about a year ago
Mm-hmm.
when it all kind of came together and I could articulate the value and the story. And yeah, we have about 3,500 people signed up to the website right now.
Okay.
And I do podcasts like Guiding Brands. I show up to networking events. I do speaking engagements. I talk about the anatomy of your closet and how to think through it differently. And it's been word of mouth. A lot of folks are excited about the idea of what I do, but they need support in understanding exactly what I do
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of assumption that's led with, oh yeah, he's a fashion stylist, or yeah, he's just, a
Mm-hmm.
coach. So there's an assumption that this is the thing that I know and this is what he does. And so that's the thing that we're working through now, is bypassing all those assumptions to say, yeah, you're in the vicinity, but there's more.
Hmm. Okay. Do you see yourself or size wise expanding into other related services? So like being that I don't know, the thing that they assume you to be, when they first meet you. Do you see yourself expanding into those roles?
Oh, absolutely, especially with the technology.
Okay.
So I have this thing where I say we meet our clients at the intersection of sustainability, technology, and fashion. And
Hmm.
yeah, we double down on the tech side. And a part of that is an idea that I've been playing around with for future development, and I call it the suitcase free travel experience.
Okay.
Now imagine jumping on a plane anywhere in the world, get into your hotel room, and everything in your closet is outfitted for your vacation or your trip. So
Hmm.
size wise would be able to partner with tailors, seamstresses, brands, because we know your size, because you speak to one of our coaches. There's this ecosystem of personalization that's happening behind the scene that will allow us to give Karen everything she needs for her 3-day trip without packing a suitcase.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. All right. I will talk to you a little bit more about that off air. Off air. So you have like a team of people that are working with you, and as coaches, as closet coaches. Is that how this works, or is it just you alone? That's just talking to
Yeah,
people.
I'm not the coach. I'm just the guy that found the thing and built the thing. We have coaches around the world. We have a
Hmm.
coach in Lebanon, in Spain, here in the US. And the beauty about this global community is you can access a coach if you are an early bird or you like to burn the midnight oil. Like their late night is your early morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can speak to someone from a different country and have them impress your style goes beyond just what you know or see locally every day.
Hmm. Interesting. I would imagine so. And I would imagine too that because of the differences in culture, they may come, even more unbiased. As a
Right.
coach, you shouldn't really be interjecting your, self on the person you're helping. So, yeah, I could see that. Interesting. So, hmm. Mhm. So they're from all over the world. Um, and I'm sure, well, there may be some influence because if I'm speaking to someone in Lebanon, I would actually want to know what fashions are like there. Maybe they can educate me in that process as well. Are these people in the fashion world? Are they trained in the fashion world?
Oh yeah, all our coaches are certified. All our
Okay.
coaches have some skill set or they graduated with the knowledge of being a color analysis, being a face shape evaluator,
Wow.
understanding body shape, body type, understanding how to mix and match outfits with what you already have. Because the core of what we do is to help you shop your closet first. And if
Hmm.
you need help or support beyond that, we can help in the way you travel. We have a package called the capsule suitcase, and that's for individuals that pack 3 months for a 3-day trip. We show you how to do it sustainably and stylishly so you can look
Guilty.
good every day.
I am the one. I'm the one. I start packing a while before, and then I trim back. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, actually did really well last year. I went to Jamaica, and I was going for 6 weeks, and that was probably the first time that I did really well. I actually packed exactly what I needed. I didn't go overboard. So this is good. Okay. Um, you know, I had a question to ask you about your personality and size wise, how much of you is in the brand, but I think you've already shared that, just your personal story, how you got to be here. And I see you also as this person that you you're just not afraid to go up to a stranger and just have a conversation. So I can see that in, because you have to be approachable, and the technology and the work that you do has to be approachable, so I'm going to bypass that question. So, you know um I want to know, what would your, as with your background of UX UI, being an award-winning designer, and all of these other things, tied now to Sizewise. This is the Guiding Brands podcast, where I'm the chief guide, but every guest on this podcast is actually a guide. So I want to know from you, what one piece of advice would you want to give, that small business, or that person with the idea of starting their own small business? What piece of advice would you give them, right now, as it relates to, building a brand?
That's a very good question, and it's something that I had to grapple with very early. And the thing that I share most often is be vulnerable.
Hmm.
We tend to think that if we create a business or a product, it's just about the business or the product. And it's not true. People want to know who you are.
Hmm.
People want you to show up, and people would like to know you. And vulnerability, I mean, we know what it means, right? Like you're open to hurt, you're open to pain, you're open to all sorts of things. And I'm not saying just go out there and be cavalier about vulnerability. Protect yourself. But there is a fine line between being accessible, understanding how to communicate who you are and the value that you're bringing without it feeling salesy or a transaction.
Hmm.
And the more you understand where that purpose is coming from, it makes your product or service easier to sell.
Interesting. Interesting. So, I hear you say that, and I'm like, wow, that's what you how you would respond to this. I'm like, vulnerability from people who come from a culture that's very closed. we
Yes.
don't we don't no, you don't tell anybody about your business. So I can understand that. And it's a big part of what you hear now, when and from business coaches, marketing, branding coaches, saying that, you need to be open, because people buy now not just the product, they buy the reason why behind things, especially in this third world nation, this first world nation that we live in. Sorry. So, yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience about Sizewise? What's happening? Anything that's happening right now that's special that you want the audience to know about, or something that's coming in the future that you want us to know about?
Well, it's fairly easy to access our services and what we do. Just visit sizewiseclosetcoach.com. Pick one of the services of the three. We have a 15-minute, 30-minute, and a 60-minute package. It's all designed for that busy lifestyle, and it's all affordable. And it's accessible by design. We wanted to make sure that kids that wanted to make an impression at the job interview could access someone that could help them through that narrative. We wanted to make sure that the person that said they didn't have enough time could at least sit for 15 minutes on their mobile phone and get some advice about whether or not the tie works for the conference. And this is a big part of what we offer, is that accessibility, whether you want it to be, a course of 3 weeks where we help you with a closet declutter, or a one time session for 15 minutes. So yeah, just encourage everyone to check it out and yeah, give us your thoughts.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. And you mentioned the website. Where else can people, get in touch with you, connect with you online?
It's Sizewise Closet Coach everywhere. Instagram, TikTok,
Okay.
Facebook, you name it.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, Damien, this has been an enlightening conversation, and one day I will share with you a little bit more about my mom. I'll share with you the photo I have of the last dress that she made my sister. We still have, maybe we'll connect a little bit more about that.
So
Um,
I have a challenge for you, Karen.
what's that?
Speaking about vulnerability,
Uh
don't only share it with me, share it with your social media family.
huh.
And that's where it starts. Like you will see how quickly you'll get engagement around whatever story you share with her and the memories that you have. And that's when you'll realize that even on social media, it gets a bad rap because of the popularity of who's
hmm
taking control over it, but it allows people to see the human side.
Well, I actually did share it, but with
Oh,
a small group on my Facebook account, long time ago, a few years ago. When I saw the dress, because I mean, my sisters are a lot older than I am, and especially this one sister, she's the eldest sister, and who basically raised us. So yeah, I do, and I did share it on my Facebook page, but it's my Facebook is account is closed. So,
okay.
so but maybe one of these days. I'm writing a book about her, so it'll be in
Oh,
the
okay.
book for sure. So
Okay. Okay.
it'll
Cool.
be in the book for sure. But thank you so much. I really appreciated this conversation, and I wish you all the best. And I will be checking out all of your tools. I must say I didn't before, but now that I'm understanding a little bit more about how it works from you, directly from you, I will definitely, and I'll be sharing this with the world. So thank
I
you so
appreciate the
much.
time. Thank you,
Yeah,
Karen.
thank you
Enjoy
so
the rest of
much.
your day too.
Yes.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. I look forward to sharing with you again next week. So please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Thank you and bye for now.